chapter 44. For the leader, a psalm of the sons of Korah, Mashgil. O God, we have heard with our ears, and our fathers have told us, a work you didst in their days, in the days of old. You with your hand didst drive out the nations, and didst plant them in. You did break the peoples, and did spread them abroad. For not by their own sword did they get the land in possession, neither did their own arm save them, but your right hand and your arm, and the light of your countenance, because you was favorable unto them. You art my king, O God. Command the salvation of Jacob. Through you do we push down our adversaries. Through your name do we tread them under that rise up against us. For I trust not in my bow, neither can my sword save me. But you have saved us from our adversaries, and have put them to shame that hate us. In God we have glorified all the day, and we will give thanks unto your name forever. Selah. Yet you have cast off, and brought us to confusion, and goest not forth with our host. You makest us to turn back from the adversary, and they that hate us spoil at their will. You have given us like sheep to be eaten, and have scattered us among the nations. For you sellest your people for a small gain, and have not set their prices high. You makest us a taunt to our neighbors, a scorn and a derision to them that are round about us. You makest us a byword among the nations, a shaking of the head among the peoples. All the day is my confusion before me, and the shame of my face has covered me. For the voice of him that taunteth and blasphemeth, by reason of the enemy and the revengeful, all this has come upon us. Yet have we not forgotten you, neither have we been false to your covenant. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from your path. Though you have crushed us into a place of jackals, and covered us with the shadow of death, if we had forgotten the name of our God, or spread forth our hands to a strange God, would not God search this out? For he knoweth the secrets of the heart. Nay, but for your sakes are we killed all the day. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Awake, why sleepest you, O Lord? Arouse yourself, cast not off forever. Wherefore hidest you your face, and forgettest our affliction and our oppression? For our soul is bowed down to the dust, our belly cleaveth unto the earth. Arise for our help, and redeem us for your mercy's sake. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. Now, once again, we have this is for God, it's actually to the Lord. A psalm, it's in brackets, and we can look at this as a psalm, or we can look at this as a lamentation or a prayer, if we want to. And I believe that's really what we have. David is speaking for his people. David is not speaking for himself here. We will gather this as we go. But this here is of the sons of Korah. Korah is the bald. The bald, and we're just going to use the bald, not as meaning that the bald are, but we're going to use it as a similitude in a comparison with those that have been stripped of their glory. And we can remember that's exactly what God did to Israel when he punished the house of the priest, when he punished Eli. Mashgil, once again, is instructions, instructive. It's instructive, and if we listen, well, there's instruction here. We can gain it. We're going to pick it up verse 2, verse 1, if you're in the King James Version. O God, we have heard with our ears, our fathers have told us, a work you didst in their days, in the days of old. And we have heard with our ears, or it's been told, we actually have it documented for that purpose, because it was oral in the beginning. And so it was written down that we could have it actually documented, a written copy. A written copy serves two purposes. See, we not only have that's what was told, but we have a documentation, something that we're going to use as proof. It's going to be the evidence. It's going to be the I told you so. This work that God did in their days, in the days of old, this that our fathers have told us, these that were from before. And we're going to that work was when they would come up out of Egypt. They come up out of that place of pits. They come up out of that place of snares. God freed them from that all that understanding of men had, and brought them into His understanding. Give them the law. Give them the Torah. And this is that great work. This is that great work that God did in those days, and freedom from Pharaoh, that great house. 3. You with your hand did drive out the nations and did plant them in. You didst break the peoples and did spread them abroad. And they were brought into the promised land after they were freed. And God did drive out the nations that were there, those 7 nations that they was commanded to destroy. God drove them out from before them. We'll find this is documented in a, maybe not so much that everybody was on their toes doing what they were supposed to, but God was steady about His business. But we'll remember back. God said, remember one thing, it's not for your righteousness that I sent you in to possess this land, but for their wickedness. See, because what was God doing? He was spreading them abroad at that time. He had worked His will with them for a while. They were descendants of Noah, and they knew what was going on. They had understanding. And they had polluted it, and God was making an example. He was bringing somebody new in. They were going to come in and inherit that land, take that land over, because it had done been spoken. That's exactly what was going to happen. And once again, that great work was continuing. 4. For not by their own sword did they get the land in possession, neither did their own arm save them, but your right hand and your arm and the light of your countenance, because you was favorable unto them. And it didn't matter. God had to be with them before they could win the battle. See, it didn't matter what their strength was the multitude of their armies. God wasn't limited to saved by a few or by many. God was in control the whole time. And this is what done it. They had recognized that. They had understanding of that. And it was God's right hand, the strength in God's work, God's arm, his great strength in His abilities, and the light, His understanding. It was the truth coming in. His countenance. That's those things that He was making plain, those things He was making simple. It was the law coming in. And God showed favor unto them because of the law. See, and the law came in, and that was what done it. It was righteousness coming forth. 5. You art my king, O God. Command the salvation of Jacob. And God is king. He is the only one there is. There is no other that rules. He rules in heaven, and He rules among men too. See, there's 2 different places where God rules. He rules in heaven, and He rules in Sheol as well. 6. Through you do we push down our adversaries. Through your name do we tread them under that rise up against us. And it's through God's name, through this understanding of God, what God did for us, and even in the beginning with the law, that this ability comes. See, there's the ability right there. There's your wisdom. There's your strength. There's your knowledge. There's your ability. See, that's your understanding. That which gives you this ability to rise up against those that are putting you down. 7. For I trust not in my bow, neither can my sword save me. I don't this bow, that which we bend, and these here are instruments of war. That's not what's going to do it. Not by power. It's not by might. Not by that kind of strength. See, but it's by word, by understanding that goes forth. That's the true ability. That's the true knowledge of God. The word. That's what defeats. 8. But you have saved us from our adversaries and have put them to shame that hate us. And this is why. This is the salvation of God. See, this is what saves you from your enemies. This is what puts them to shame. It's the law. It's the Torah. It's sin. See, they don't observe it. They take part in it. They condone it. 9. And God have we glorified all the day, and we will give thanks unto your name forever. Selah. In God have we glorified all the day. And this is the understanding that comes, the knowledge, the wisdom, when that you finally accept that and put yourself under the judgment of it, become self-correcting, take responsibility for self according to the law. See, don't blame it on somebody else. Don't say, well, they're going to take care of that for me. I'm not responsible for it. I do that all I want and get away with it. That doesn't work. That's lying to yourself. That's cheating yourself. 10. Yet you have cast off and brought us to confusion. Go us not forth with our host. And after all that, see, God has cast off, brought us to confusion. He goes not forth with our host. He don't go forth with our armies. He don't go forth into our battles. He don't fight these things for us. We're left to fend for ourselves in transgression. 11. You makest us to turn back from the adversary, and they that hate us spoil at their will. Run in fear is basically what this is. To turn back from the adversary is to flee. It is to not be able to stand. They have grown mightier than, and they that hate us spoil at their will. They that hate, they're caused to hate, but they enjoy it, should we say. We should not enjoy to hate people. It's not good that you hate people. 12. You have given us like sheep to be eaten, and have scattered us among the nations. You have given us like sheep to be eaten, and scattered us among the nations. This was written in Deuteronomy. This was what God said was going to happen. David was king at that time, and by the time David got to be king, God had done this many times. God had scattered them out, given them over to the Philistines, given them over to the Medes. He'd given them over to several different nations to punish them for their sin, and then brought them back by deliverance through a judge. Wasn't nothing new about this. See, God trying to show that this is what he's going to do. It was written in Deuteronomy. David read the book of the law, the book that was given to the king. He kept it by him, and he stayed in it. He knew what was going to happen. They had come from the time before where they'd come into the promised land and inherited it. They had passed through all the blessings of God and come to the period where they had a king. God warned them that was what was going to happen. Here David was sitting reading the book of the law. It had come upon him. Why was he not to consider the rest of it was going to happen? And this is plainly what he's making clear, that this was coming. This is what was going to happen. He was evidence himself sitting there. 13. You sellest your people for a small gain, and now set your prices high. And this is what happens. For a small gain, for gold and silver of men, for that which is worthless. 14. You makest us a taunt to our neighbors, a scorn, derision to them that are round about us. Never been no greater evidence than the facts. History itself proves. See, the constant chasing after, the constant dispersing of, see, evidence of itself. And we're talking about the children of Israel here. 15, you makest us a byword among the nations, a shaking of the head among the peoples. Makest us a byword. That's like a word nobody uses no more. A definition forgotten. A word that, what's it mean? I never heard that word before. Yeah, that kind of word. A shaking of the head among the peoples. A shaking of the head is like a shaking total disrespect. Total, like looking down like you just won't give up. But we'll find out. See, this here is just something that God caused a punishment. We'll find, though, the nations, they enjoyed it too much, and this became a problem. 16. All the day is my confusion before me, and the shame of my face has covered me all the day and all my understanding. My shame has covered me. I'm sorry for what it did. The shame has covered my faith. I mean, this is made plain. It's made known by me. This is what I did. For the voice of him that taunteth and blasphemeth by reason of the enemy and the revengeful. For the voice of him that taunteth, this is the browbeating. See that shame? That's the browbeating from the enemy. The taunteth, blasphemy, always looking down, saying you're ignorant. You don't know what you're talking about. You have no understanding. I wasn't there, but I've been told. See, got hearsay evidence and trying to use it like it's factual. We'll find out this would be a great mistake. You're not allowed to bear witness. That's bearing false witness. See, you don't know. You have no understanding. You ain't searched it out. You didn't check nothing out. All those, and that's those that are taking revenge. They're taking revenge for something they know nothing about, joining in like a pack of dogs would on a carcass. No understanding. You're just in the froth. You're in the throng of it all. 18. All this has come upon us, yet have we not forgotten. We have not forgotten you, neither have we been false to your covenant. And we'll find out. Not wavering, steady about it, steady in the covenant, because we're talking about those that do observe. That's who we're talking about, not those that don't observe and cause those that do to suffer in their transgression, to suffer in their immorality and their perversions and their distortions of understanding. That's not the ones we're talking about. We're talking about those that do observe, those that do. 19. Our heart is not turned back, neither have our steps declined from your path. Our heart hasn't turned back. Our ways haven't changed. We're steady about our way. We're not wavering. We're in our path. Our steps have not declined. And it ain't like we're going down. No, it's not like we're going down. We're steady in the path. That's God's understanding. His knowledge, His wisdom, He give you in the beginning for your own good. You're going to hear me say that 1,000 times because that's what we're talking about. God's law, the path, the way. It always has been. There's nothing going to change about that. 20. Though you have crushed us into a place of jackals and covered us with the shadow of death. 20. Even though. Now you have crushed us into a place of jackals. Jackals, these beasts, those that don't have no respect. They ain't got no respect for God's laws. They rip, they tear, they have no feelings for others, individuals, or other life. They're just seeking their prey. Jackals, like packs of wild dogs, covered us with the shadow of death. The shadow of death. The shadow is like a darkness, a lack of understanding of, something to hide in, something that covers. I mean, there's only one place where death exists, and that's here. This is the only place where death exists. Death doesn't exist in God's kingdom. Death is not there. This is the place of death. See, there's only one place where death exists. And I'll let you figure out where that is. 21. If we had forgotten the name of our God, or spread forth our hands to a strange God, but, now if we would have forgotten our God, forgotten the name of God, but we didn't, we find out that was the only memory we were allowed to carry with us. If we would have spread forth our hands to another God, well, these other gods, what? Are there other gods? Yo, there's still gods out here that He give all these other nations to fall down to get on their knees, and they cry out in their names. They don't cry out to God. Oh, they claim it's God, but that's not God. There was no image of God. You didn't see nothing when God spoke. 22. Would not God search this out? for he knows the secrets of the heart. Don't you think God has the ability to search these things out? God knows the secrets of your heart. He knows who you're bowing down to. God knows what name you're crying out to. God can hear. God can see. 23. No, but for your sakes are we killed all the day. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. No, 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 we have not done these things. But for God's sakes, because we won't fall down, because we won't worship something that's visible, because we won't take on the understandings of men, because we cling to that knowledge of God, the law, the Torah. We're counted as sheep for the slaughter. Like, you're just going to be killed. You're going to die. Really? Really? I believe the definition of death is sin. Sin is the transgression of the law of God. See how the shoe just fits your foot as well as mine? 24. Awake. Why sleep you, O Lord? Rouse yourself. Cast not off for evil forever. Awake. God's not asleep. Why sleepest you? God not asleep. God doesn't sleep, O Lord. Rouse yourself. Cast not off forever. Cast not off forever. Don't look away in judgment continually. God's merciful. We'll find out it's always the same case. And when they call, when they turn in earnest expectation of God's deliverance, we'll find out he does. Always has. Always will. But you got to turn. That's a necessary thing. See, it's a requirement. 25. Wherefore hidest you your face, and forgettest our affliction and our oppression? Why do you look away in judgment? Is what it should say. Why do you look away in judgment? God looks away in judgment. He's trying to teach us something. He's trying to bring us to understanding. He's waiting for you to get the message. He's waiting for you to receive the instruction. The lessons done went forth. The words done went forth. He's waiting for you to grasp it, get a hold of it, understand it. What's he trying to say? He ain't going to speak no more. He's looking away. What's else he got to say? He said it all. It's you that's not listening. It's you that didn't. You heard. You're not listening. That means you're not getting it. You're not receiving it. 26. For our soul is bowed down to the dust. Our belly cleaves unto the earth. Our soul is bowed down to the dust. It's humbled now before the dust. The earth, the flesh. See, the flesh. That's this place. That's where death exists. See, there's the place where death exists. We can see that. We can see that. We can touch that. See, it's the finite. It's defined. It has a beginning. It has an end. It's determined. It's something determined for it. It has a period, a time of existence. Not like God. God, where God is forever. It's unending. It's eternal. It's non-finite. It's non-definable. Unlike this place where our belly cleaves to the earth, our inwardness, that can be looked at a lot of different ways. A lot of people think, well, this is life, this is a beautiful, wonderful place, this is great, and it is. It is. But death exists here, and it can't be all that great, because death exists here. So we have to wonder, is there something better? So we cleave to this life. We cleave to the understanding that this is it. This is all there is. No, that's just not the way it is. We'll find out that this is somewhere. See, this is somewhere. 27. Arise for our help and redeem us for your mercy's sake. Arise for our help. Come forth. Stand up. Redeem us for your mercy's sake. Redeem us. Redeem. That word always gets me. Redeem, because the only time I would need redemption is if I was dead. If I had transgressed. If I had sinned. We have the definition of that. It's the Torah. It's the law. God give you. That's for your own good. That way you would know what it was, and you would be able to, even in death, even in that place of death, you would know who God is. He's God there too, and would be able to call out on His name, and there He would be able to redeem us. Because God is merciful. God is merciful, and it's His mercy that goes forth. It's the law. We're going to move forward to Psalms 45. Turn and return